Hey YouTube, what is up? With Majora's Mask's 3DS remake less than a month away at this point, my hype for the game is at an all-time high. I pre-ordered the limited edition Majora's Mask new 3DS XL, I pre-ordered the limited edition of the game that comes with a Skull Kid figure, I pre-ordered the limited edition game guide, and I figured it was time for me to learn some more about the backstory behind the game, as I'm going to be putting a lot of time into the game in the future, and I decided to take you guys along for the ride. And just letting you guys know, there are going to be spoilers from here on out, so if you don't want anything in the game spoiled for you, please click away now. And with that being said, there are going to be spoilers, so here we go. In a Majora's Mask, at the end of the game, you are given the Fierce Deity's mask without much of a backstory to it, other than the fact that Majora wants to play a game with you, gives you the mask, says you get to be the bad guy, and seems like a little bit of a weird thing for him to say, but honestly, who gives a shit? You get to become a god, and you get to beat the living shit out of Majora, which is one of the most satisfying boss battles I ever remember playing as a kid. Even now, it's like that is one of the most satisfying fights in the game that I remember. It was just so fucking fun to beat the crap out of Majora. But when I played it as a kid, I didn't really understand where the mask came from, what the point of it was, why it just appeared, at the end of the game with no backstory to it. It seemed like a cop-out, a deus ex machina, an ass pull, whatever you want to call it. It seemed to me out of place that it was there. I didn't understand the reasoning for it. And now that I actually went back and looked, into the backstory of Majora's Mask, it actually makes sense. So for you guys that don't know, like I did not, I'm gonna tell you the story now. Originally, Majora was not a mask, but rather a big fucking dragon, and a dragon who basically ruled over the land that would one day become Termina, which is where the game takes place now. Majora didn't let anything change, didn't let time progress, the land wasn't dead, it wasn't living, it was stuck in some kind of weird, almost limbo, if you'd imagine, until one day, a guy that looks almost exactly and dresses almost exactly like Fierce Deity Link comes and plays music for the dragon version of Majora, and Majora as a result dances, allowing time to progress 3 days and nights, and after the 3 days and nights had progressed, the mysterious man carved Majora's mask, which we see in the game now, from a scale that belonged to Majora as a dragon, effectively sealing away Majora and all his powers within the mask. The mysterious man is believed to be a god, as he has control over time, and that he was able to beat the dragon Majora. Does any of this sound familiar to you guys? Even in the slightest, a hero who can control time using music, 3 days and nights. Fuck, Majora even dances when you play the final boss battle with him when you fight him inside the moon. These are recurring themes that are present within the Majora's Mask game that match up with the last time the Fierce Deity and Majora encountered one another. And as I said before, the Fierce Deity's mask is stated as being bad by Majora himself, and in the game it even mentions that the mask has dark powers, possibly rivaling that of Majora. In the manga, the mask that is given to Link by Majora's Mask, it's unclear how Majora's Mask acquires it, but it's called the Oni mask. It is not referred to as the Fierce Deity's mask, but rather the Oni mask. Oni is a Japanese term that translates to demon, devil, ogre, troll. It's not really all four of those as one definition, but it can be used to describe any of those. It is also actually referred to as the person who is it in a game of tag, which also ties it into the fact that Majora states you are playing a game with him, and this offers us one possible reason as to why you are being referred to as the bad guy in Majora's Mask, why Majora himself calls you the bad guy when he gives you the mask. That's because it might be a translation difference, not the fact that the mask is actually bad. If you are playing a game with Majora like he says he wants to play with you, you would be it. You would be Oni, which is not a term that often refers to very positive things. It instead refers to demons and the like, so you would be the bad guy. You would be it. You have to get him. So it's not that you are inherently bad, but it could be a translation issue. The two are basically fated to fight against each other until the end of time. They're gonna, repeatedly verse each other, and it's not an uncommon theme to have two foes fated to fight against each other, reoccurring battles until the end of time. That's something that really happens very often in a lot of media. Naruto, for example, but I don't want to go into detail. I don't want to, spoil that for you. But it makes sense that they are fighting each other now. The themes that carry over from the previous time the two encountered to now help us better understand the reason behind the battle that's occurring now, the 3-day tie-in, the, use of music to control time, dancing in the battles, it helps tie it all together. It basically gives us, a backstory that helps us understand what's happening now. And to get back to speaking about the Oni mask and being referred to as an Oni mask, being that it has dark powers, that it's evil, Link is even warned in the manga by Kafei, however you spell that, K-A-F-E-I, not however you spell it, however you say it, the guy that is basically turned into a kid by Majora, to not put the mask on lest he become like the Skull Kid, overwhelmed by the power that lies within the mask, corrupting yourself. Majora's Mask is a game that is all about choices and seeing the repercussions of your actions and the ways that others react to what you do. Receiving the Fierce Deity's mask is no different than any of the previous situations that have been present within Majora's Mask before. You are given the option to equip the mask and gain enormous power, but you are also corrupted by its power as well. In the manga, Link realizes this and takes off the mask before he gives into the power completely, and an example of being corrupted by the power would be, the Skull Kid himself. Because if you beat Majora's Mask, you learn that, the Skull Kid was once friends with the giants who are now holding up the moon that you were battling in. More so the fact that he considered himself to be friends with them, and they, kind of ignored him, and he became, hurt and lost, and it caused him to become spiteful, and when he used Majora's Mask to get revenge on all those who had wronged him, he was corrupted by the power within it. He sought the mask out for the wrong reasons, and he was corrupted by the power as a result. Another little fun fact that I thought was a little cool was that when the Skull Kid talks to you at the end of the game, after you find out he was friends with the giants and stuff, he mentions that you smell just like the kid who taught him a song in the forest, meaning that, yeah, this Skull Kid is the same Skull Kid that you met in Ocarina of Time and taught Soria's song to. Saria, however you pronounce that. They're one and the same, and I thought that was a little cool. And the last bit of backstory that I think is worth mentioning is that once you give the mask back to the mask salesman, the creepy guy that, fucked up in the first place, he tells you that all the evil has been removed from Majora's Mask. Now, if the evil was removed, it doesn't, clarify if it was expunged, if it was absorbed into the Fierce Deity Mask, making the Fierce Deity Mask stronger, but I thought that was another interesting bit of information, that the mask was now wiped of all evil. I thought that was a really, really cool little side tidbit of information that they give you. It's like, the mask is now powerless, this can't happen again, you actually succeeded. Not like Ocarina of Time, where you get sent back in time and everything just kind of, cyclically happens again and again and again. And with that, I feel like that's all the backstory that I have for this video, and there are a ton of theories revolving around Majora's Mask as well, but they aren't, canon, they're not, specifically stated by Nintendo and stuff like that. So I'm going to make another video where I talk about those theories. The theories do include how you've been dead the whole time, just like Bruce Willis in Sixth Sense, or that the Stalfo that trained you in Twilight Princess and the Link that you play as in Majora's Mask are one and the same. But that's for another video, so thank you guys for watching this, and if you enjoyed, don't forget to click subscribe for more videos because it's free, it's fun, and I'll see you guys in the next one.